was power cuts of up to 18 hours a day. We'd get these scheduled like times where like power would be available,
Right.
and it was crazy to operate around that space. We organized a mountain biking tour across the Annapurnas.
Okay.
We found a guy who does Tour de France.
Yeah.
And then we found like a group of impact investors, high net worth individuals to come along on a journey with us
Like a literal journey.
up the mountain.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
we
yeah.
went high up to 5,400
gosh.
meters,
Yeah.
went down,
On a bike?
all on a mountain bike. And that was how we raised our first $1 million.
Welcome to Founders of Impact. This is a Miller Center podcast. My name is Karen Rendy. I am one of the directors here at Miller Center for Global Impact. Usually we are at Santa Clara University, but today we are actually in a very beautiful location. We are in Goa, India. And today I'm sitting with somebody that I've been wanting to talk to actually for a very long time because I've known him for some time. This is CEO of Gham Power, Anjal Niraula. Anjal, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
So yeah, I mean, why do you want to tell the good people why we're here? Like, what are we doing in Goa
Sure.
together?
So we are in a one-of-a-kind retreat for entrepreneurs all over the world, making global impact. And usually in a lot of the sessions, in a lot of the conferences, you talk about like prescriptive things of what you should do, what your business model should look like, what are the challenges you face. But you rarely find a place where you look inward towards you as a person, the kind of challenges that you face, especially while performing at high intensity. You rarely find people to talk to or like like people who
Yeah.
have shared similar experiences. And here we are. We are entrepreneurs from many different countries, at least 15.
Yeah.
And we are sharing our stories. We're learning from one another. We are going deep into the problems that we've faced, and also finding a path to scale. And it's in a beautiful setting like Goa. I mean, it's been such a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it's been amazing just kind of having you here. And like I said, we've known you and your business Gham Power for a while. And for those that aren't as familiar with your business, can you share at a high level what Gham Power is all about
Sure.
and where in the world do you operate?
Sure. So we are a solar project developer. We're based in Kathmandu, Nepal, and we operate all over Nepal. Our project spans the high Himalayas. We've done project in Mount Everest Base Camp. We've done projects in very remote mountains and hills, but also in the flatlands. So we've covered like very different geographic, span across the country. And our core focus is on building solar projects to help social enterprises and commercial and industrial businesses to get reliable access to electricity. We also help them lower their cost and also at the same time minimize environmental impact.
I mean, your whole business model has been, I feel like, so transformative in Nepal and just understanding how Gham Power was founded. So you were founded actually, I believe in 2009 by Sandeep Giri.
Yeah.
Like in response to the energy crisis in
Yes.
Nepal, right? And it seems like he kind of quickly mobilized a solution to a pretty big crisis in your country. And
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to speak a little bit about that and like how you kind of got involved.
Sure. I mean, like Gham Power's story is incomplete without talking about Sandeep. So, I mean, it's apt that you brought him up. So Sandeep is a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. He's into software. He built, like software for Silicon Valley enterprises. And while he was building a company in Nepal, which was an outsourcing company, he realized that the country was going through a major energy crisis.
Yeah.
Me, myself, I had just finished my engineering degree in Germany, and I was back in Nepal trying to do something. And an everyday person was living through a massive energy crisis, as you said. There was power cuts of up to 18 hours a day. We'd get these scheduled like times where like power would be available,
Right.
and it was crazy to operate around that space. So I mean, it became natural to try and use solar as an alternative source of energy for houses and businesses who were trying to operate in that crazy time.
Right.
And obviously there was not much option going around. So in our early years, we focused heavily in providing solar and energy storage to businesses and residential customers all over the country, giving them access to reliability.
Yeah, yeah. So Gham Power was started in, was it 2009 or
Yeah.
2010? And then you joined shortly thereafter, I think
Yeah.
as like a project lead or a project manager.
Yeah.
But then wasn't too long after that you actually became CEO
Yeah.
of Gham Power.
Yeah.
And was it 2015 if I get my facts right?
Yeah.
And you've been CEO since then.
Yeah.
Like that's a tremendous leadership journey.
Yeah.
So I guess I have a few questions in there. So Gham Power was started in 2009 and you joined shortly thereafter as a project lead. And then it wasn't actually too long after that you became the CEO in 2015. And you've been the CEO of this tremendous company ever since then.
Yeah.
What has that leadership journey looked like for you? I'm sure there's so many lessons in there.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah. I mean, just to begin with, I think I joined the company just fresh from finishing my engineering degree. So I viewed myself as primarily an engineer, a technical person. And my job in the early years was to ensure that the systems were designed correctly.
Yeah.
They were installed with the utmost technical standards. And I think that was where I focused primarily at, right? So over the course of my journey, I realized that the technical solutions, I mean, the problem was so vast that I had to look at the problem from various different perspectives.
Right.
And obviously, Sandeep was tremendously helpful in allowing me to make that transition. I took a year off in between to go pursue my master's degree, which was energy policy and management. I think that year off really allowed me to look back on my time and sort of like see the problems from a fresh perspective, similar to what we're doing here, right?
Right.
So I took that time off and then I immediately went back to Gham Power, and then with this newfound holisticness of the thought, if I could use that. So a fresh perspective, we said we wanted to go in a different direction because obviously when we started out, our focus was on, like the urban, semi-urban areas where people were struggling with energy access. But there was at least 40% of the country back then, which didn't have access to electricity at all. So we said, hey, if we are to really amplify the impact that we want to create, we cannot just be serving in a certain area. We had to reach out to more far-flung areas. So with this fresh perspective I had, I think there was a slight change in focus with which the company wanted to move forward, and with that came change in role. And it's sort of like it happened at the right time as well.
So when you talk about Gham Power, what's one thing that like really surprises people when you explain what you're doing and why you're doing it?
So I mean, although like we've been in the solar space, we've not just limited ourselves to one particular solution. We've evolved so much over time, right? So in the early years, we were primarily functioning as an energy engineering, procurement, commissioning, like an EPC company, and then we moved transition more towards building microgrids in rural areas, and for that we had to also be an energy service company, right? So we had to raise our own funds, build, operate, and manage projects which require completely different skill set. Also, the kind of customers that we're dealing with completely changed from people in the urban areas to people in rural areas, which primarily were small entrepreneurs. They were people involved in agriculture. So we had to understand that dimension of also like how people were making money or how they were using the electricity to improve their livelihoods. In addition to doing work with solar, we also worked with smallholder farmers, trying to see how we can increase their revenue. In the period between 2015 to 2018, we worked primarily with solar-based productive end use appliances. So we did a lot of solar water pumps, solar cold storage solutions, solar grinding mills that allowed the farmers to increase revenue. We also worked with a lot of microfinance institutions, trying to see how we can finance these projects. And then after 2018, we made a full circle back because the market was so dynamic and it was changing, right? So the energy situation in the country was evolving. The solar panel prices have dropped down. And just by virtue of being at the right place at the right time, we started deploying solar rooftop solutions for commercial businesses, industries, and also like social enterprises that allowed them to replace their diesel generator completely. And we also became a finance company in a way, because now in the past we were pitching to one sets of customers who were primarily the people who would use the solar energy to do something with it.
Right.
But at the same time, we now also pitch to investors with a model that allows them to use their capital, make tremendous social impact by giving people access to reliable electricity, at the same time make decent return on their investment. So there's that transition that we made over time, and the evolution has been gradual. It's been one that has been rooted in our like our understanding of the problem, the fact that we're operating in the same space. So yeah, although we have transitioned around solar, the way we operate, the kind of systems we built, the digital technology that we adopt, the hardware that we build. So there's been tons of evolution in between.
Yeah, I was literally, as you were talking, like, wow, that is an evolution, literally. And I think it's a tribute to how you, like you said, take a holistic approach to managing and like really listening and like kind of feeling the flow of how the ecosystem has evolved. And Gham Power has been able to ride that wave, so to speak.
Yeah.
So when you first came to Miller Center in 2019, as we were looking up in Salesforce, what was the biggest sort of business challenge that you and your team were trying to unpack, and what did that 2019 experience kind of help you resolve or think through? Or maybe it was nothing, but just kind of curious to hear where you were at that stage.
No, I think primarily when we started out, we had really not been a part of an accelerator like Miller Center, right? So I mean, I think we were mostly focused in our ground operations, trying to build a solid team. But the Miller Center experience, and especially I want to give a shout out to our mentor, Eric Carlson. He was super helpful in trying to unpack the kind of problems that we're facing, right? So
didn't he come and visit you in Nepal?
He did come and visit me in Nepal. I took him to see a few of our project sites, and his ability to sort of like see the issues that we're facing, to be able to like enunciate that in words was actually, like, I found that super helpful.
It's amazing.
But also not just during our visit to Nepal, also during the whole accelerator experience. I think, just to be able to take a week off and take time out to really dive deep into the problem. We can, even during the courses that we took before, we're really able to refine our impact model. We're able to build a business model, and also the unit economics side of things, right? So a lot of, I mean, although we were, like on our path to building a solution, it was not really focused. We, like, when we're talking to investors, we didn't feel that we're quite ready yet. So just to be able to have a very succinct story and a plan that we could then go to investors and be able to pitch, I think that really helped. And that experience now has allowed me to, just go, and as we pivoted into all of different business models, be able to come up with an idea that I can present to not just investors, but also to customers and other stakeholders in the ecosystem. So just the storytelling side of things, to be able to be very clear about like what we do, and also explain the numbers behind the model. I think all of that has been super helpful.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like, that's a big part of it, is being able to tell your story succinctly, as you said, and also tell your story through numbers, which is like very much the language of investors.
Yes.
So my question for you, because I'm sure you've had so many experiences pitching to investors, doing deals with investors. What's one thing you wish more investors, impact investors, kind of understood that they just don't?
I think first off, the space that we operate in, it's a very complex, like a system, right? So I think the first thing that I witnessed when I was, like when we were at Miller Center talking to a lot of different investors, it was probably the first time where people understood like how challenging the environment is. You're not only having to work in very tough, challenging places where your customers don't have enough money. So you're not only building a business for yourself, but you're also like looking at the impact that you're trying to create. Like, what's the unit economics for your end customer? How are they making money? Also, sort of like to think of not just your business, but also look at a slightly bigger picture, and to be able to also like separate the commercial from the impact side of things, right? Because oftentimes, like, we get bogged down with my returns and, like, and a lot of the investors that I spoke to in the past were very like, we're looking at, okay, how much can you pay, like, over time, but the businesses that we build and the space that we operate in requires a different kind of support.
Yes.
It's very extensive. Sometimes, the return process could be a little longer. So it requires a lot of creative thinking with regards to how you pay them back. It requires a lot of patience and also requires support beyond investment. Right. And I mean, that's one of the things that I'm really grateful to Miller Center for, is that, it was not just one accelerator, one support. I think the handheld support that we've received over time, it has not just been, like, one off. It has been, like, really deep. And that, I think, is the major differentiator between, like, the kind of investors that we look for and also a normal mindset that most investors tend to have.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I think, well, I have two questions. Well, I want to say another thing about investors. Is there one thing that you find investors really, like, focus on too much that for you is, like, you don't really care about, or, like, a metric that they tend to hammer on, but you're like, this isn't really something super relevant for me?
I think, like, what I've realized is that for investors to really understand our business, they need to really care about, like, what we do.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you this very interesting investor journey that we had. It was actually after the Impact Invest, like the accelerator program that we did with Miller Center. We got in touch with a group of high net worth investors based out of Holland, and then one thing led to the other, and we organized a mountain biking tour across the Annapurnas.
Okay.
We found a guy who does Tour de France.
Yeah.
And then we found, like, a group of impact investors, high net worth individuals to come along on a journey with us.
Like a literal journey.
Across the mountains.
Yeah,
we went high up to 5,400 meters, went down.
All on a bike?
All on a mountain bike.
Oh my God.
But I mean, so I bring that up because that experience really, and that was how we raised our first $1 million. Because during that time, I had the investors with me for 7-8 days. I was able to pitch the story, also show them the kind of work that we do, because oftentimes, like, when you try to also, like, tell your story in, like, 5 minutes or 6 minutes, the nuances and just gets lost. Right. So, I mean, I wish I had the privilege and everybody else in the world had time to go visit some of these companies that operate in our space. And I mean, now that I know a lot of them, just it's such a privilege to be able to invest or, like, work with some of these companies. So just to go beyond the commercial numbers, to find time to really getting to know the founder or the kind of impact that they're creating, because so I feel like that's understanding that whole bit is what it needs to really succeed in this space.
Yeah. So I think you bring up a really good point about the relationship and the time that you put into a relationship. Like, you get what you put in. And I think that's really what Miller Center is trying to do. And I feel like Gham Power and you, like, have really been a part of that, especially as we start to think about how we build community. And you've actually been a part of one of our smaller communities, the Asia Leadership Circle. I think you're part of the original tour, and you're still a part of it.
Absolutely. I mean, So, I mean, shout out to Lance for that. I've just been calling out, like, a lot of names. I mean, we have this amazing moderator who manages to, like, just get the best out of people. Like, just, I mean, oftentimes, like, you can let 7 or 8 people, like, just have discussions in a group, but just to keep a discussion centered around a particular topic, get everybody participating, allow them to be, like, really vulnerable, dig in, and then, share some of the darkest moments, share the joy and the successes of each other. I think that is what has kept me going in this group for 5 years.
Totally.
And I've also seen other people evolve. It is this space where, we have a monthly meeting. It's 2 to 3 hours, and like, we sometimes focus on one particular topic, some of the problems that we face each other, like in our own particular journey, and these are some of the topics that I cannot discuss elsewhere.
Right.
Just most people wouldn't understand it. Like, even I don't come from a very entrepreneurial family. So what I do, oftentimes people don't even understand.
Right. Yeah.
So just to be able to have that space, to be able to share that, story with people going on similar journeys themselves.
Totally.
I think it's a space that, I mean, so lucky and privileged to have that. And yeah, I mean, there's been over those 5 years, I've had so many like ha moments, like which.
Can you share one of the aha moments?
So there's this one moment where it was probably the first time I was trying to build a board, and I'd never done it in the past. And
Wait, so you guys hadn't had a board?
so, I mean, usually it was more like functional,
Okay.
like, I mean, since we didn't really have
Right,
external
right.
investors,
Yeah.
it was mostly like, procedural.
Yeah.
We'd have discussions on the side, but just having like a quarterly, periodic board meeting with like annual plans being discussed, some of the problems, challenges, like, and really getting to the meat of it. I think
Totally,
that was
yeah.
something that we didn't really have.
I see.
And also bringing together stakeholders from, like different point of view with different interests, in a same room. So, like I was really struggling with trying to conduct these meetings in a way so that I could get the best value out of the meetings, right? I mean, oftentimes these were more like reporting functions that I was just not being able to get the best out of it. But just like, in a meeting where everybody else was sharing their own experiences, and like when with Lance sharing some of the best practices from Silicon Valley, bring that all together. And I started implementing some of those learnings immediately into like my everyday meetings, and that has transformed the way we operate.
Wow.
How that has also changed the way I operate is it has given me more confidence to have different structures in place.
Yeah.
Right. I
Yeah.
think in the past when we started out, we had like one company, Gham Power, but now we've got three more SPVs, like going on to
Yeah,
fourth.
That's amazing.
Each has its own corporate.
Congratulations, by the way. That's huge.
Thank you. And each has its own corporate governance structures.
Right.
And to be able to walk into these board meetings and out, like getting the minutes done,
Yeah.
making sure that everything is running on time, I'm much more confident in managing all of that.
Wow. So what's your advice to folks that are thinking about building their own board or having a board? What would be your quick tips about that? Knowing
So-
all that you know now.
So, I mean, the first off, I think it has to be beyond like a transactional relationship, or like, it has to be beyond like just checking off boxes, right? So, I mean, that you should do, but I mean, you should really have people in the board that you can trust.
Right.
Like I was talking to somebody the other day and I was like, hey, like, are you confident enough to call your board member at like 10 p.m. and going through all these emotions and rant, and would they still listen to you? I think that's the kind of relationship I want with my board members, like be able to reach out to them without hesitation, and be able to count on their support, right? So just to have that kind of relationship with the board members,
Yes.
but also like from as diverse background as possible so that they can give their own insights,
Right.
right? So the board is not a unit where you report to and then like, they come up with strategy. I think uh, it's a circle where you should be able to ask for what you want from
Totally.
from them, and I mean you align on shared vision and
Right.
structure, right? So I think make sure you choose your board members wisely, and also make sure that you ask what you need from them like on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's good advice, actually.
Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about you and your leadership style. So as you said, you went to school for engineering and
Yeah.
then got your master's, and you kind of learned all these sort of holistic processes. What is it like? And you've scaled Gham Power under your leadership.
Yeah.
So I think, what does that look like to go from having sort of like one entity to 3, 4 entities? Like, how has your leadership style evolved to
Yeah.
accommodate such big HR growth? What did that look like for you?
So that's the other thing that we did. I think the number of people has actually not grown with the different kind of entities. I think what has grown is the depth of a role a person takes.
Yeah.
So I think like what I was able to do, like as soon as I took on the helm, is to cut down on like the churn of people going in and out of the company. I think we're able to really trust, like identify the right people and just back them with the resources that they need. And every single one of the people that we have, we know their strengths, we know their weaknesses. A lot of the things that I learned from Miller Center and the CEO leadership circle that I'm part of, I try and pass that down to my team members, and to be able to build the capacity around each and every people.
Right.
I think that's been the key. So right now I've got a second tier of management of at least 9 people.
Okay.
They've all grown. So the youngest one has been with us for 5 years minimum.
Wow.
Right, and then the most senior of them has been with us for 10 years. So we've actually been a group of people that have been together from 5 to 10 years. We've seen them grow. We've backed them with the right resources, and for me, that's been the secret to what we've achieved. Like we have built relationship with stakeholders.
Right.
Over time. We've evolved, but also like we have found the right people that we all trust and understand each
Yeah.
other. We work in a system that suits us well. We've been smart enough to call out, like each other's weaknesses and to work on them. But just to have that core staff has given us that stability
Mm. Hmm.
to really go on to larger, bigger things.
That's really incredible. I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs could learn from that leadership style, especially around building the trust. And
Yeah.
the fact that your team has stayed with you for that many years says a lot about you and like the precedent that you set. I'm curious, like as a leader, we talk a lot about burnout. I feel like that's been a big thing and, having stress and all that. What do you do when you're starting to feel that way and you feel like I need some time? Like how do you manage that? How do you still show up for your team when you yourself are maybe feeling like, oh dude, this is hard.
Yeah. I mean, we have been through so many of those, like like ups and downs along the way, and we live in a country that's very volatile. So, and we've been through a massive earthquake together. We've been through economic turmoil within the country. We've been through political leadership changes,
Crazy protests
crazy
last year.
protests. I mean, just last year. So
Yeah.
there's so and COVID,
Oh
like
yeah, the COVID. Yeah, exactly.
see, like I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, just I
Yeah.
can count on like every year we've had to like deal with a crisis,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's a big crisis just around the corner. The way we've been able to deal with what's going to come is it's just being very transparent, like a atmosphere as much
Mm.
as possible. I think we've created a culture where being vulnerable is not looked down upon.
Hmm.
People are like openly share some of the challenges. We've got like a feedback culture where like teams just sit along amongst themselves and give feedback to each other.
Yeah.
I'm very open for my team to walk up to me and then this is this is what you've done that I don't really agree with. I think just
okay.
having those conversations have been like super important.
Right.
Myself, I think like I found a beautiful wife last 5 years, and
Aw.
she's been a source of my strength. And just like having that stability in my home,
Ah.
like has allowed me to like just manage all these ups and downs at work. So yeah, just the fact that I've had a stable home, I have tried to maintain a stable routine myself.
Yeah.
Just being able to work out in time, like eating healthy food, just basics, right? Just
Yeah.
sleeping on time, just trying to keep at it as much as possible while like not trying to be able to openly communicate about some of the problems. I feel like that's been the big differentiator.
Yeah, that's very cool. So I think if you're, or maybe this is a teammate, but I was going to say if you were working with your best friend, let's say your best friend is your COO, what would you say your best friend would say about you and your leadership style?
I think, and I've done this in the past, so I know exactly.
Okay.
In one of our feedback sessions,
Yeah.
they've said that I think I have been like very fast with
Mhm.
my decisions. I think oftentimes that has led to us being able to be on time with a lot of
Mm.
opportunities that come our way.
Yeah.
But also like sometimes like being able to focus on too many things,
Right.
and I think that is something that I struggled with in the past. But with as our team has evolved and now that we've got like multiple board members to rely on, I think that that flexibility to do
Right.
so many different things has sort of like because we plan so much in
Yeah.
advance,
Yeah,
we've got
yeah.
like board reporting to do, so that I think is something that we're also working on. But just I mean, we work in a very small market.
Yeah.
Nepal is, I mean, we've got 20 million people, but it's not a huge market by, like some of the standards here. So just being able to focus on the right things
Yeah.
at the right time, just
Yeah.
being able to pivot and make fast, quick decisions. I think that's what my team would probably say about me.
Ah, okay. Has there ever been a time where you were like, no, this is the decision, we're going with it, and it ended up being maybe the wrong decision? Has that happened?
Yeah, I mean several times.
Okay.
I mean, just like it was sometimes like in picking the right team member.
Mm.
Just okay. Sometimes like maybe we backed the wrong person. It came back to haunt us. Also like just some of the investor relationship we've had.
Right.
I think like
Yeah.
that was also something that, I mean, if I could go back, I would have done things completely differently. So yeah, I think most of it has been around, like just like trusting the right people, or like, not making that cut fast enough.
Yeah.
Like sometimes
Yeah.
you have to like make relationships, but also sometimes you have to let go of like, of things that are not working out. Right. So just being able to do that fast enough, I think
Right.
that's something that I'd do if I could go back.
Gotcha. Yeah. So you mentioned your beautiful wife of 5 years, and I know you recently had a
Oh, yes.
child. Yeah. So she's
Yes.
your daughter, right?
Yes. I have a daughter now.
She's 3 months. Is that?
Yes. She
Yeah.
just turned 3 a week ago. Yeah.
Congratulations. So how has that been like transitioning into fatherhood whilst
Oh.
also running a giant company? Like, how are you? Because I know that could be a lot.
I mean, yeah, my wife is actually taken the brunt of it.
Okay.
My job has actually been mostly managing logistics, making sure that she has everything she needs. But I think the first thing that I've done after like my child was born was I took some time to slow down. Everybody kept telling me that like there's so much more than just focusing on your business, and I've spent more than a decade of my life trying to build what I build, and then just being a father is such a pleasure. It's been a blessing, and I also want to enjoy just being with my daughter and being with my family, and like just being a father has allowed me more opportunity to be able to do that. And in the past I may have felt guilty about like just taking time off from my work and focusing on my personal things. But now I'm more confident in like spending time with my family, giving them attention, and that's been a great source of joy for my life.
Amazing, amazing. So you're not sleep deprived then? You're like sleeping well.
I mean, there's that. There's definitely that. I mean, the first months were rough.
Yeah.
But I mean, like just being able to focus on work was actually also like helpful. Because then, like you don't focus on small problems, you then get bogged down on it. So just having that versatility to be able to switch between roles was actually like helpful for me.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah.
cool. That's cool. So at Miller Center, we're really intentional about building these communities and having a network of our entrepreneurs like yourself, and like having it be sticky so you want to be a part of this
Yeah.
community. So my question for you is what does a community look like for you, and like why is it important to have a community, and like what makes you stay in that
Yeah.
community?
See, like I think for me, just it's I mean, so my journey has been, at least like in the past I used to feel that it was a very unique journey. I think that's, and it still is in a way, right? Because some of the nuances and some of the problems that I deal with is probably is on me. But over the last 5 or 6 years, I mean, the problems, the challenges that I face on my own, or like the weight of the world that I keep on my shoulders, I don't really have to do that, because there are people out there who are facing even more challenges than me. We're going through this same journey, and then just being part of this community allows you to like to see your own problem from a different perspective.
Yeah.
People saying the tiniest of things about like how you operate just makes sometimes like a lot of things go away. I've also like it's been such pleasure to see some of my other fellow entrepreneurs overcome their challenges, and then it gives you confidence that, hey, like I can do this as well, right? So just empathizing with some of the journey that people are going through, and with moments like these you get to see them in person, and then and it's like you've never been away for too long, right? So you
Totally.
can just pick up on the conversations that you've had. So just to be able to have that space, where like you're all growing at your own rate, different stages of your journey, but
Totally. Yeah.
like you can actually like share your experience with somebody else, while at the same time you're learning from a different person. I think you rarely get that opportunity when you're like when you're hands down, you're just too bogged down
Right.
with your business challenges, and to get a bird's eye view on your problems. I think that's a unique privilege,
Yeah.
and I consider that to be a privilege, and that's what makes me like keeps me from like going out, and I keep coming back because it's nourishing in a way that some other relationships in my life wouldn't be able to meet the same requirements.
I really appreciate you saying that, just because, like, well, knowing you and knowing folks like Matt Wallace of O now, and Shantanu and Ratul,
Yeah.
like these guys you've kind of known for a
Yes.
while. And
Yes.
what I really like about all of you guys, and there's more people in the Asian leadership
Yeah.
circle, is like how generous you are with each other.
Yeah.
Like, yes, it nourishes you, but I feel like you also pay it forward to each other.
Yep.
And to me, that's a key, at least what I think is a key part of a community, is like what you put in, you also
Get back.
Yeah.
True. And I think like it requires a lot of trust,
Yes,
and I think and to have that space where you can be vulnerable and like trust people with some of the problems that you face. I think it took us a while to build that.
Yeah.
Our moderator was super key, like and Lance, and I think like some of these conversations like just leave you feeling even more energized, and like and whatever you get, you want to give back.
Yes.
Right, I mean, and that's the spirit with which a lot of people
Mm.
show up to these meetings, and hopefully we can keep taking forward.
Yeah, very cool. So this is a question I like to ask everybody, but what are some books or podcasts that you love that you would recommend other folks check out? And it can be related to anything, like
Okay.
business or personal.
I think like I have been big so some of the books I pick these up from some of the entrepreneurs themselves.
Mhm.
I think when I was having through like board related challenges,
Yeah.
there's this book called Startup Boards that Matt gave me. So he was
Startup
actually
Boards, yeah,
so I think so that really helped me
Yeah.
through particular challenges. But I think like for me, just reading books besides of business. There's this one that I'm currently reading called like The Debt, or like just even writers like Yuval Noah Harari, like just looking at history, and then like just trying to make sense of what you're trying to do from a global perspective. I think those are the books that I fall back to. I think like podcast How I Built This. I think that's
Guy Raz.
Guy Raz.
Yeah.
I think that's been and again, these I go back to these because like these are stories that I can relate with, and like some of the ways that they solve the problem gives me insights.
So what are you excited about for 2026, either personally, professionally? Like what do you got going on?
So we just closed a large funding round that I've been working on for best part of 2 years.
Jeez, okay.
So
Wow.
I am really excited about like these new investors coming on board. I mean, we like the market is finally opening up in Nepal. People are finally understanding solar. There's also like large business houses coming into the sector.
Right.
I mean, which you could kind of think of as competition, but I look at it more as a validation
Totally.
of like what we're trying to do. There's big boys, like trying to come into the space, which I think is also going to be good for the entire industry.
Yeah.
From a company that is trying to solve problems in different spaces. So now we're a national voice. I think like what we carry,
Yep.
like has
Still young.
weight. Just being able to shape regulation and policy towards like the direction that we want to go. So that keeps
Yeah.
me exciting. We're also this year we're trying to go to a couple of countries in South Asia, trying to see if there's something that can be done there. So it's exciting time, and hopefully I'll be able to share more on that in
Keep
the
us
next time you speak.
posted. That's very
Yeah.
excited that you're scaling it by leaps and
Yeah.
bounds, literally.
Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much, Anjal, for speaking with us and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
sharing more about your journey. I just always love, I always love seeing you and just how great you're doing. And yeah, I wish you all the continued best. How can we get in touch with you?
So we are very active in social media. I've got a
Yeah.
great marketing team. Shout out to Vandana, Rushni, Akriti. They're doing phenomenal job. So I mean, you can follow us on social media. I mean, you can reach out to me. Like I'm quite active on LinkedIn. So yeah, I mean, we try to accommodate. Like we're always open to sharing new ideas, our story, and also like helping out people in the community. So if you got any problems, or if you want any, like if you want us to share any insights from what we're trying to do, feel free to reach out.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much, Anjal. I
Yeah.
think we got it.
Sure.
Cheers from Goa.
Cheers to Goa.